So our match number 2 between Peru and Cat Fast Nation is already begin preparations. Map vetoes have begun. You guys are voting away like Prorovka and Abby. We haven't seen Abby yet in the qualifiers. Very telling that maybe if we see it in the actual season.
It is.
All right, so the map has already started. So let's get into battle number 1 here on Ensk. Let's go ahead and introduce the teams. Over on the north side, the red team, we have Peru Apus. And the blue team in the south, we have Cat Fast Nation with members formerly from Simp and Red, or not formerly, currently from Simp and Red Sky. Clutch, what's going on with our initial map movements? We already see some action going on the western side.
Well, Peru has moved to the western side. They're taking this position at this time, but still their scouts are in the back flanks at this time as well. Not moving too far into the courtyard because they don't want to get picked off immediately. One of the scouts on the side of the red team, Peru, is actually going to move over to this section, try to scout out maybe a little bit of the lumber yard. Now, at the same time for the blue side, which is Cat Fast Nation, got one scout in this area. He's just going to be chilling this area for a little bit, just hanging back to see if any type of movement may be coming across the tracks or anyone pushing a little bit too far into the enemy territory. So it's a little bit more of a spread out defensive position. This may not be in full favor of Cat Fast Nation if Peru plays a longer game because of this one big reason. They have map control up to this section, and they're going to continue to push this map control further in if need be, and because of that, that is going to allow them to have better cover in different city blocks, and the blue team, Cat Fast Nation, will have less cover and less mobility.
Well, you see Cat Fast Nation already spreading themselves out thin, not really taking any aggressive posture whatsoever. What do you think about this now that you've heard Clutch's explanation,
I don't really know why they're choosing to fall back so much. I guess this might be just a reading move. Of course, this is the first battle of the series. But I feel like they're giving up unnecessary position super early in this game. And when you do that, you're really not only setting a tone, but you're also setting yourself at a disadvantage because normally when this happens, the attacker, even though there is the defender's advantage, the attacker has initiative. And that initiative oftentimes leads to an advantage in terms of HP or just a straight up tank right off the beginning because you are placing your tanks in a much more favorable position in the first engagement.
All right, well, we see that Panzer Sudamericana, the AMX 1390, has been used to primarily active scout, trying to see if you can get some spots along the 5 to 7 lines between the railroad tracks, just see if you can get some more vision along the map while the T1s are able to kind of hook the wings and try to see if they can poke out, but still very cautious. And it's a very easy map to get punished if you poke around the corner a little bit too soon. Even if you get tracked and you try to repair immediately, you can get blown up, especially if there's a couple heavies waiting around the corner. Clutch, again, I only see the red side. We have a sight of what's going on here with Randall's screen. What's going on with blue team?
Fighting Irish, Victorocious, and Angel of Darkness pushing all the way up on the 8-9 line, and they're in the D section right now. They're in a very aggressive stance. Fighting Irish in the AMX 5100 and Victorocious, that's quite a name, the T69 are pushing in. They're going to get spotted, though, by Towson in the T1. Immediately, shots fired on the T69. They're going to get the kill, and now they're going to have to hang back. Joining them as well is Bogentuff in the IS-3. And this is quite a bit different from what we saw in the first couple minutes of the game, them playing a little bit passive and straight out in the defensive position. They're going all out, it seems.
Yeah, it seems with blue team spotted there, we're going to have to see Peru rearrange slightly, and what are they going to do? They're going to push further down the western block, Gretor.
It makes a lot of sense. Of course, all their tanks are positioned over there. They're C1, T69 all the way on the western side. And they know they have the potential to, if they are featuring something like Cap Fast, they can go ahead and cap for themselves, knowing that they have an AMX 1390 that can go ahead, back and forth. Because it is a light tank, it's very fast, very durable. Well, I shouldn't say durable, but fast. And he could be the one that resets cap while the other team goes to cap themselves. So it looks like they're debating right now what to do.
Well, now they're starting to move backwards as Panzer does get the scout on Bogentov. I didn't see the second member from the blue team, but now we have Peru on a full retreat, trying to scramble back into a position where they can defend the flag, while Panzer's still moving down to see maybe if he can initiate countercap and even catch a couple of weak units. Banana has been spotted, but already red base is under attack. The cap has begun.
Cap has begun indeed. Victoracious, Fighting Irish, and Yoko Bao on the blue side are in great positions to stop any type of pushes coming from the train tracks at this time. Shots fired against 2 IS-3s, Lincoln and Chell, and they are not in a good position to move out, but the T-32 and the AMX 5100 from Peru are going to try to stop the capture.
Oh, Aramir getting good shots on Fighting Irish. He needs to get away from that battle. Cat Fast sticking true to their name. Angel of Darkness and Bogentov trying to stack and rack up points accordingly, while Yokobu is trying to hold off Lincoln and Shell from being able to push closer up beyond that D-line.
And you can really see Peru, them not taking the preliminary actions and beginning to destroy all that destructible terrain is really killing them. There's a lot of different buildings, and of course, the flag is still not destroyed over there.
Big shots. Bananas does manage to take out Aramir, but not before Victoracious was being able to take out as well. Panzer trying to get a flank. Nice shot from Fighting Irish, showing that with low health, he's still very effective. 20 seconds on the clock for Cat Fast to finish it off. Still, Peru trying to hold it off. Bogentov taking a lot of damage. Angel of Darkness racking up those points. Clutch, it's coming down to the wire.
It is coming down to the wire. This is great positioning right now on my screen, as I can see Bogentov is the mother bear protecting Angel of Darkness 45 as Cub right now, shooting continually in that IS-3 down that alleyway as Bananas to the wall host and Yoku try to continue the brawl going on, and that is going to be a capture. Great positioning and teamwork from Cat Fast Nation.
That's right. You know what? The IS-3 played by Bananas was really well done. He's just waiting 30%, 40%. As soon as there's some sort of trigger, I don't know what the number is, but as soon as there's some sort of trigger, he says, okay, they can't cap me anymore. Let's get into the right roll. Let's go ahead and converge and try to flank everybody from behind. He does not need to kill anybody. What he needs to do is divert attention. If he doesn't divert attention, he's shooting everybody in the back, and he's getting a lot of damage done.
That's a great screen set up from Cat Fast all along the 7 line, being able to come around. Bogentov obviously screaming for their T1. The name is slipping my mind, but also really good job from everybody to hold off the push, because Lincoln and Shell were pushing really hard, getting good shots. Fighting Irish almost dropped immediately, and losing your autoloader, your 6 shots to distract would have been absolutely massive. Very clutch plays by Cat Fast.
And you brought up something super important in the beginning stage that we just witnessed, the AMX 1390 in the beginning. What role did it play? Yes, it was trying to go back as soon as they saw, okay, they're going for the cap. My AMX 1390 is going to go and try to recap them. But there was an IS-3 sitting right there. Yeah. And he's saying, come at me, bro.
Bananas
of course,
was just waiting for him.
You don't want to have that engagement. An AMX 1390 against an IS-3, if you don't pen a single shot, you're in for a world of hurt. You're always going to be penned since AMX 1390s are so flimsy. So what ends up happening is you can see the AMX 1390 is just in limbo. It does not know what to do. And when you have this engagement, normally it's not good to cross the tracks. But you can see all this debris that's in the way as well that's really, really hurting them. Peru, they weren't able to get into the fray to have good shots and take out every single tank, or at least pen the tanks that are capping those points.
I do want to say that it wasn't even that Panzer didn't do anything significant, because I'm looking at the damage screen. 1,300 damage, still dealt second highest on his team. Pretty significant, but yeah, I just felt a little bit misplaced positionally on the map. He never was in a good position to maybe get a complete flank surround, maybe even get some good shots. Maybe he could have gotten the finishing shot on Fighting Irish if he was in a good position. So regardless of what happened, a lot of small things end up tilting the fight into the favor of Cap Nation. Clutch, any closing thoughts?
But look at that positioning right there. Bogentov protecting Angel of Darkness 45. He actually was angled a bit next to that dirt mound because the shots were coming towards that direction. He changed his angle to have straight on fire because he's in the IS-3. You want to have that straight on engagement, and there his teammates are able to brawl it out and clean up. That's basically. Right. It's great teamwork, great positioning.
And,
All right, cool. So that wraps up the game summary. Maybe we'll have some stats and analysis after the break. But until then, we're going to get ready for battle number 2 between Peru and Cat Fast Nation. Cat Fast, got a Cat Fast. We'll find out what happens right after this. watching WGLNA, and if you're tuning in for the first time tonight, I want to welcome you and just say that we're having a good time in this qualifier. Greetor, what happened in the previous game for anybody who just be tuning in right now?
Well, we saw cap fast, cap fast.
That's right. And
that's it.
What is capping fast?
Capping fast is when it's a capture the flag type of game, and for every tank you have inside a large circle around the flag, it counts as 1 point, and you get 1 point a second. So if you have 3 tanks in there, it's 3 points a second. That being said, CapFast was able to get their tanks positioned in a way where not only are they capping, but at the same time, they're making sure that their opponent's tanks weren't able to get close enough to shoot and kill the tanks that were in the important area.
Yeah, of course, the conventional way is to capture with one person. 1 second gets 1 point. So 100 seconds normally allows you to capture. But if you can accelerate it up to 3 people, you can capture a lot faster, hence cap fast. Clutch, what do we see for battle number 2?
Battle number 2, I believe, is going to be on Runeberg. That's going to be the map of choice. We're going to go ahead and jump on the screen here to give you guys a breakdown of what the map looks like in different positioning. Now, I put these 2 artillery pieces here. Again, this is up to the teams if they're going to choose to have artillery on this map. This is a hybrid map. On the west side, you do see a village, a city that has a lot of cover. But on the east side, that's where you see more of the open fields. Yes, we did name the northern section the TIE Fighter because if you tilt your head, it totally looks like a TIE Fighter.
Absolutely.
So the Delta Village is where you see a lot of different engagements happen. Usually for the north side, they will take the Delta Village as soon as possible. And rightfully so, because they have a bit of an advantage trying to move to the Delta Village, because for the red team, they have to go through the camping grounds, and that actually delays them a little bit until they're able to reach the Delta Village. What we did see in some previous matches last night is actually the team that spawns to the top will move a couple tanks to this position at the edge of the TIE Fighter, the southern position. That way, they can move when necessary to have any type of crossfire or engagements or flanks through the Delta Village from the western approach. Now, this does leave the entire west side open. We'll usually see some light tanks moving and engaging here at times. However, there can be 1 or 2 heavy tanks that do circle around, maybe going through the south diagonal, coming through this section, and moving through the city side, perhaps being a little bit kind of crazy with different engagements. We do see a lot of the heavy tanks try to battle back and forth. It is, again, anybody's game. The Delta Village is usually the first skirmish that happens, but with any of these strategies, it is to be determined.
Right, so let's go ahead and wipe that board real quick and even talk about cap-fast strategies that we sometimes see on Runeberg with big pushes. What can we really expect in that regard? Because we have seen cap-fast going for quick wins.
And cap-fast will be starting in the southern section.
Okay, so cap-fast in the southern section, I believe they're going to be the blue team, correct?
Yes.
So let's go ahead and change everything up here to make sure that that is right in my awesome quick skills. All right, so cap-fast spawns from the blue.
At 8 p.m.
If they send their scouts initially through this section and up to the north as fast as they can, they'll be able to try to detect anything moving from this side. And because of that, they can determine, okay, we're going to push this way first, or we're going to cut in sooner from this area. There we go, is the right color, and then move in on this side. That's if they take that approach. If they take the more open approach, sure, they could be more aggressive, but they're going to be so completely open for any of their teammates, or excuse me, any of their opponents, moving in from the Delta Village, noticing their movement, and just getting any type of fire that is open here. And again, that's going to depend on artillery. So I predict that cap fast, if they're good at cap fast, going to push through the city because that allows them to have more cover. But I could be completely wrong.
We're just listing opportunities and possibilities.
Exactly.
Certainly, especially considering that the North can go for that eastern village. Greetor, what do we see in tank selection and initial picks for this map?
Right off the bat from Team 2, which is, of course, Cap Fast Nation, I can kind of feel like they're not going to go for a fast cap. And the reason why I say that is when you feature 3 IS-3s, you want your battles not to be out in the open. And when you go for a fast cap, yes, there's going to be some sort of conversion on that north side, but it is in semi-open areas. So when you build yourself so heavy on your IS-3s, you want them to be positioned in the best possible area. What is that?
What?
That's going to be the western side.
Oh, what? What do we see over here? So
Did he choose a Tiger too?
Now, Penna Student Americano was choosing weird tanks, but now I see a Tiger 2.
A King Tiger is what he has chosen, a Tier 7 heavy tank.
See, now I thought that was only available in the Xbox.
Tier 8, excuse me, not Tier 7.
No, okay, so the only time I've ever played a Tiger 2 was on the Xbox version, and I was like, man, this is a pretty good tank.
It
But,
is
I mean,
a pretty good
it's
tank.
also, it also has its glaring weaknesses, and it's much better played from distance as opposed to up front. What is going on here, Clutch, with the Tiger 2? I don't even have statistics pulled up because this is not a common tank.
It's not a common tank in pro play yet, but that's another great thing about World of Tanks esports is that they can choose tanks that are not pretty much common to
But
choose.
hey, if it works, man. Maybe
But
it's metagame breaking.
It could definitely be. A lot of people complain, why don't people choose German tanks? The biggest reason why to pick a King Tiger or a Tiger 2 is its firepower. It has serious firepower. And that's where the best way to exploit the team is to...
German tanks have packs a pretty big punch.
They do. But you have to be careful of going up front in a German tank because of how the schematics are. If you get a front hit in the front lower plate, that's not going to be good.
Yep, not enough fire extinguishers can keep your Tiger alive from even the worst fires possible. Let's go ahead and get into battle number 2 on Ruinberg between Peru and Catfast Nation. And welcome to Ruinberg in the top half of the map with the red team. We have a very unconventional team composition, but we'll talk about that in a second. It is Peru Apus. And the bottom half, the blue team, we have a lot of established veterans in the scene. They go by an alliance called Catfast Nation, composed of members from Red Sky and Simp. Now, Clutch, we've seen the opening movements. Pretty different, but kind of what we were saying. If we were pushing the west and maybe the north goes for the east, what's going on?
Catfast Nation did not push all the way because, smartly enough, you have one of those light tanks in this section right here for the red team, for Peru. He's able to scout any type of movement from the south. Now, they did take the Delta Village. They did move in this quadrant and said, you know what, we're going to go this way. We're going to lock this place down. They have kept one tank here to try to get in kind of that crossfire towards the center section of the map. Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit dicey because the blue team could move to this section and lock in the blue team, lock in Catfast Nation, but Catfast Nation at the same time could just decide, hey, we're going to take out your light tank and we're going to push over to your cap and we're going to cap fast. So it might be a little bit of a standstill to the 5-minute mark, but I'm sure that both these teams definitely have a plan.
Oh, yeah, especially with Tiger 2. Panzer student Manakana just dares to be different, as right now he is holding down the middle road of Ruinberg, making sure that alley would be completely shut down while his team pushes the east Delta Village. And Clutch, I want to also ask, what can this Tiger 2 really do from this mid-distance? Is he just going to be poking? Because Panzer was playing a scout earlier, now all of a sudden he's a mid-range sniper?
Well,
like, what's going on
with the
that?
Tiger 2, this is a tank that you want to play in cities. I mean, it really is. The type of firepower that it has, the type of armor that it has, I mean, it definitely is a good engagement tank, which is why he chose it. It's just the reload rate and the type of firepower it has. I haven't seen it used that much in these type of positions, in these type of matches for esports. I've seen it more for the pub-style match. But when I do see the Tiger 2s, I see them fighting in the cities. That's where we want to have it. Even inside the Delta Village, it's okay, but I would actually have him move more towards the cover of the different villages. But again, he doesn't have to worry about artillery.
No, you're right about that. So in that regard, one less thing to keep on his mind. Greetsword, what do you really see going on over here?
You know, it's really interesting. I don't know what to think about the Tiger 2. It performs, as you said, similarly to the IS-3. It has a little bit better pen, a little bit better damage, but you know, it's obviously, it has glaring weaknesses in just its defense, its sturdiness, its ability to be alive even, just because it will be penned, right? It will be penned against gold rounds. It has a little bit more HP than the IS-3. But regardless, I don't know. I'm really torn up where and how they're going to use this Tiger 2. Again, it feels like it doesn't have a glaring advantage that I really like. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be the eye of the beholder.
That's right, indeed. I actually look forward to seeing how he's going to perform with the Tiger 2. To give you guys the stats, I mean, the whole armor, 150 to the front, 80 to the sides, 80 to the rear. Turret armor, 185 to the front, 80 to the sides, and 80 to the rear. It is a Tier 8 heavy tank on the German side. Firepower for the gun, I'm sure he's probably unlocked using the second-tier turret within the game itself. He might have the 10.5 centimeter KWK 46 L88. Now, what does that translate to? Premium rounds, 320 damage and 285 penetration with a rate of fire of 5.26. So that's a pretty good cannon to use in this type of gameplay.
Rukil actually just passed me a note saying 320 just as you said that, Clutch. So you're absolutely right. So that website is verified by Ru. Either that or Ru is writing that website.
I trust both sources, Rukil and...
He's like, I don't know. He like shrugged his shoulders and just wrote 320 down. So I was thinking IS-3 has around 390 average, and it's just like, well, you know, you were talking about the Tiger 2 and how its damage could compare. But yeah, 320 in terms of its average.
It's average for the IS-3. But it's really inaccurate.
But it has a great view range. It has good frontal armor, and it has a good ability to rotate in place, which you'd think, what does that really matter? Well, if you're in a city map and it's a really, really pinned down area and you can rotate and get to the flank as soon as possible, that's pretty good. But of course, it's very situational. Pretty good gun depression. Penetration's on par with the IS-3 BL9. And the con, though, is kind of a large silhouette. It's kind of a large profile.
Okay. Well, penetration on the BL is absolutely fantastic, especially if you can get it within good range. All right, so let's go ahead and check in on the blue team now that we've seen a lot of what's going on with the red team, considering that the east Delta village has been pretty well secured, and Panzer is slowly but surely trying to get vision down the line, almost for sure understanding that their opponents are on the western side, but they can't be too completely ignorant to the fact that they could be hiding in the zero bushes.
Well, we're going to go ahead and follow Yoko Bao here. Whoa. Looks like he might have scouted some of the light tank positions on the red team here. He's moving up north, getting a little bit crazy here in the T1 Cunningham. Positioning himself behind the bushes as well. Oh no! T69 is able to scout him out and get some first blood.
Yeah, Ramir being able to take out a scout from Cat Fast Nation is pretty big. Not the end of the world, but that's not a good way to start off. But again, Yokobu was really far overextended, up on the one line, all by himself. What does he expect?
He was in enemy territory. Now the blue team's going to play a little more cautious, but they are moving into the courtyard section. Moving across here, T69 Victorious. Moving back and forth. Red team now moving from the Delta village. That's a big push. They know they had to give it up. And shots are fired now from Victorious going across this line here.
I apologize, by the way. It was the T1 that went down the zero line. But instead, Angel of Darkness able to return the favor and takes out Tank Daniel before he was able to turn around and do anything. So one tier point apiece. Both T1s down, but some important scouting has been measured already.
Panzer's going to take a shot, unfortunately, in that Tiger 2. He's just trying to spot people for now, but he sees there's an IS-3 and a T69 right around the corner. Going to take a shot on the IS-3 and hits. Very nicely done on Fighting Irish. But for now, he is pinned right now, but he has a couple of his battle buddies over across the street. AMX 5100, two AMX 5100s being played by Chell and Lincoln. But for now, it's a standstill.
Yeah, now Aramir and Sergio are heading back because they did see Angel of Darkness initiating the cap in that T1. Bananas and Fighting Irish has been holding down this F-Road for quite some significant time. So until then, Peru will have to kind of rearrange and shuffle. But meanwhile, I only see what's going on red side. How is Angel of Darkness getting backed up here, Clutch?
He's backing away into, shots fired, but a miss right here. Sergio 3214 does see him along with Aramir in the T69s. He's going to move out. He's not going to try to take any fire. He's just going to try to avert their attention from his teammates, and he gets killed.
2 tier points apiece. Now it's the big dogs left in the battle. Bog and Tough taking a massive shot from Sergio. He has to be very cautious because HP is a pretty big commodity now that it's down to, now that all the scouts are down.
I really like how Cap Fast has used their scouts. They used them so far to draw out positions, and the last little type of tactic was really, really clever. They used the T1, capped it, and then of course they had an AMX 5100 lining up shots on that T69. Ramir did receive a couple of shots here and there. I think just one shot landed or penetrated, but it's just the fact that they're really having that cohesion. Still,
hold that thought, Creator. We have Shell taking big damage, epic bacon strips and bananas going in, but Boggentuff able to snipe from downtown. Lincoln is now pegged into the cubby. In fact, Panzer is as well. All of a sudden, Peru, their defensive position has costed them any ability to escape and retreat. Lincoln drops, Panzer is down. No mid-range combat for you guys, as now 5 versus 2 advantage in favor for CapFast Nation.
And they were able to do this and know that all those tanks were isolated because of those two T-69s being slowed down by not only the Cap, but also that AMX 5100. Really well done, consolidating and congregating their advantage and pushing in a single direction. Their advantage, of course, was isolation. And those 3 tanks just having no retreat path hurts them completely, and now they're down 3 tanks. Really unfortunate, excuse me, 2 tanks, 2 Tier 8 tanks, really unfortunate.
Victor Roches, did drop, but he didn't have much HP anyways, and meanwhile, Eramir and Sergio making sure that they are a full clip and watching each other's backs, bad boy style. Clutch, I don't see what's going on with the blue team. Are they moving in towards the flag?
Blue team are in parking lot mode right now, Frodan. They are staying right now at the E5 section. And that is going to be the end of the game. We're going to have to count the tier points to determine if it was a victory or if it was a draw.
It was a victory.
Oh, I did not see the timer.
Yeah,
I went by fast. It was 2 minutes and then
action
gone.
Yeah, it is a victory coming out for CapFast Nation. They are ahead in 8 tier points, exactly 8 tier points. So congratulations to them.
Nice job on CapFast Nation taking a 2-0 lead over Peru, and that entire skirmish now completely makes more sense. And of course, do have to kind of get arranged.
Yeah,
we do apologize. That UI mistake. I was kind of looking at the attention to sector
I know.
C, attention to sector G7.
What happens for some reason? It keeps out every time they put a point on the minimap to their teammates. It comes up since I'm on their team as an observer, and it stays there. So
it was
obviously
16
we'll get
tier
that fixed,
points, by the way.
Yeah.
16 tier points.
There's 16 tier point difference. So
they were up 2 tanks.
Victory goes to CapFast.
As according to 742 rules, CapFast Nation does take the battle, which means that they are 1 battle away from advancing to the round of 16. We're going to gather our thoughts here and come back with some analysis when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More World of Tanks continues right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to WGLNA. Let's go ahead and pull up the previous match statistics of what just happened. If we can get that ready. If you're just joining us, once again, it was a match between Peru and CapFast Nation where we got to see a draw technically, but in the most, according to our rule set, whoever has more tier points up to a minimum of 8 will have the victory. And so in this case, CapFast Nation, they had 4 teammates that were up. Clutch, let's run down some of the damage reports.
Well, damage reports on the side of CapFast Nation. Fighting Irish with the most damage in the IS-3, 1,630. The Bananas to the Wall, that's quite a name. Get over 1,000 himself. And then Boggentuff. And we saw that in that last matchup. That piercing sniper shot from the AMX 5100 from the rear was a great shot. He breaks down to 731. Now on the side of Peru, Panzer in the Tiger 2. This is why he chose a Tiger 2, is because of that firepower. Over 1,500 damage being dealt.
5 for 5.
Yeah, 5 for 5 indeed on his tank. That's very, very impressive. Lincoln, 3 for 3 direct hits and penetrations. The T-69, they were 3 for 6 and 3 for 4. So a couple, looks like, did not either penetrate or did not land at all for Sergio.
It's really tough, considering that it matters so much on those autoloaders, your accuracy relative to your reload time. And if you can talk about damage per minute, that's very low. On top of the fact that he didn't even hit that much, that very often. And you can't really blame that damage report or you can't even blame these teammates too much according to the damage report, because they did get rushed at one point when time was low.
I mean, it comes down to the strategy.
Yep.
When you're looking at this, it's very hard to see what actually happened. But what you can say is my tanks, if I'm Peru, my tanks did not have enough time to unload bullets. They didn't have enough time to really do the damage that I want them to. And that could be a number of reasons, but in this one in particular, it was that they didn't position their tanks in a way that let them brawl, right? They were always chasing, and then they get initiated on. And as soon as you get initiated on and you're down in numbers, not going to have a good day.
Well, what I brought up to the beginning of the match is I thought, oh no, they're going to take Delta Village. They're going to wait in the city. They're going to fall back. It's going to be a long game. And, yeah, it was a long game. It came down to the end of the actual timer going out. But Cap Fast was in control of that entire match.
Yeah.
They waited for Peru to go down that center line engagement. Once they did, they just unloaded on them. Yeah. And that was just patient playing.
The F-Road was a trap from the very beginning,
Yep.
and being able to lure it out. And I think they got good scouts. I think Andre was even saying that they like how they were able to use their T1s to draw Peru
The
out of
cap,
position.
that's the thing. Like, normally, Peru is going to have the initiative. They are the ones that say, I'm going to attack right here. But what did we see? We saw tempo control. The cap went off. They were able to isolate two T69s, and then they were able to spring a trap and really crush the isolated tanks. That's something really important that they have to think of. Peru needs to think, well, I can't commit two T69s over here to defend this cap. I maybe have to come back a little bit, withdraw all my troops, and then go for the cap or the cap defense.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Andre. First of all,
No.
you're reiterating my point, so thank you very much for validating my opinion. Yeah. Second, I do want to address, because something has been brought up. Apparently, according to our rule set, we're going to do the same map again, because the 8-point rule doesn't apply to our
Yeah, we're going
qualifier.
to have to confirm with our admins about that.
So, you know what? Actually, why don't we take a quick break and get that all sorted out, so that way we can have the match set up and get ready to go. If it's battle number 2 or battle number 3, we'll find out right after this break. Don't go anywhere. This is WGLNA. We're very excited for battle number 3.
We
guys.
are.
The map has been chosen. It's Prohorovka. And we do want to clarify that the ruling has been set that a 2-0 advantage right now for Team Cap Fast Nation, just because the 8-point rule is in effect.
It is indeed.
It is.
We want everyone, of course, to be on the same page here. We apologize for that delay, but we are on the same page now as we're going to go into tank selection. And Prokhorivka is a heck of a map, too.
Let's go. Let's go into tank selection and start talking about it. Agree to it. Let's break down the team compositions. Who do you think has the advantage based off these picks?
You know, I feel like the Object 261, it just has so much firepower, and you have to ask, do they have the defensive capabilities to match the potential blitzkrieg or the potential, really fast push? And I would say yes. With that AMX 5100, you do slow down quite a bit. You can't get all that burst because they're going to have not only a reticle that's huge, but that thing can't just go into a position and then just sit there. You need to be moving. You're not good moving. AMX 1390, same thing. You're not going to be moving that well. You have a T69, so you have an autoloader. You have good pen with the WZ-132s. I think they'll be able to stop any blitzes, calm the game down, and let that Object 261 really take control of the match.
What do you think, Clutch?
I think that Object 261 is a definite powerhouse of control. I mean, look at the damage it can output. 1,700 on the AP rounds with 102 penetration. You lose a little damage with the premium rounds at 1,100, but 360 penetration. If this guy hits, they have to quit.
One kill.
One shot, one kill for
We'll
a lot
have
of
to
these.
keep that in mind as we get ready for Prohorovka. Keep in mind, guys, it's single elimination, so Peru's got to win. They're down 0-2. Let's find out what happens in battle number 3 on Prohorovka. This is WGLNA qualifier number 2. Let's get into the game. Immediate decisions from Peru as they are charging towards the middle plat. But again, they do have light scouts, so they have to be very active. Meanwhile, the bottom team, the blue team, Cap Fast Nation, what's going on over there, Clutch?
Well, it looks like they're going to be a two-pronged different move out here. The Object 261 moving to the right side, depending on if he goes over the tracks or not, still a good position. But one of the medium tanks is going to go on the eastern side of the tracks. Four total, light tanks in the middle. They're going to begin that engagement right in the center here, and they want to get some blood fast.
It's going to be Ty Lincoln taking some damage, trying to chase bananas and get rid of that Chaffee. But meanwhile, we see that the Object is trying to pick off any of these opponents. Peru gets the first snipe as Panzer is able to finish off the Chaffee, but not without some repercussions.
Wow, WZ-132 is going to go down. The other WZ-132 is actually just about 80% gone in terms of health. They're pushing pretty hard, but pushing into a T-69, I don't like it. No me gusta.
They're pressuring big time. Lincoln is still pretty weak. Meanwhile, we see that Catfast Nation is trying to take a more defensive posture, trying to see if they can protect their RD at all costs. They don't want to lose it in this scenario. Too big, too valuable. A lot of tier points contribute to that.
Yeah, T52 moving into position. That WZ-132 just needs one hit. Either side, moving over, and crashes into him and gets the kill. Nice save for the Object 261 by his teammates.
1390 is going to get ganked right here, and there is...
Ooh, 4 health left from Yokobo. It doesn't really matter. Shell does finish it off, but that's one less bullet that they have to dedicate to it. Meanwhile, Victorocious still trying to get up in posture against Shell. Angel of Darkness also getting some nice shots off Aramir, trying to escape. Oh, but does manage to whiff, so he doesn't manage to finish him off there.
Still has one more shot, it looks like, though. Can he get him? Yes, he does! From downtown, Angel of Darkness taking him out really nicely down. The other AMX 50-100 gets blown up.
And Victorious and the T-52 just did the Karasu movement around the AMX 5100. He had trouble trying to track him. Beautiful, beautiful engagement that happened over there in the middle, and now it's just 1390 versus T-52 in the T1. Daniel still trying to hold it down. Victorious gets the kill, and there's a nice little drift from him as well.
Ooh, Victorocious showing off that even the TAC-2 can do really good things against tanks that have no armor. 1390 Panzer trying to hold off, but Angel of Darkness going in for the big kill. And this is the last significant tank restricting Panzer's ability to turn. And Panzer does drop. Look at that Fighting Irish finishing off to make sure for good measure. Security, kill secured. Tosin is the last person remaining for Peru, but that shouldn't be of major significance, and that should be able to wrap it up, as right now it looks like Catfast Nation being able to take out the series 3-0 as Fighting Irish go for the ram! Boom!
Oh, he's alive.
11.
Oh, gets the kill. Nice.
And that wraps it up 3-0 for Catfast Nation as they take a very one-sided series in terms of the score. Although, what do you guys really think about the series overall? Was it as one-sided as maybe the records indicate?
As the record indicates, it was a game of patience, I think, for Catfast Nation. They definitely Catfast lived up to their name during the first battle. Well, you can all agree with that. The second battle was a little bit longer strung, and I think this was to kind of play with their opponent. And honestly, too, in a lot of these qualifiers for these teams are learning things about themselves, of how well they're able to execute, how well they can perform in these different matches. And I think Catfast Nation learned some things tonight about their 7-man team.
Yeah, I mean, three different styles, 3 different games. The
Yes.
Catfast, a more of a turtle passive style on Ruenberg. And then we go to Prohorovka, all guns blazing, everything was firing out. It was just duels all over the map, and in the end, they came out. It wasn't even really that contested. They still had 4 tier 8s out on the map, up and blazing, including their artillery.
What I liked about them all games
Attack 2.
is that they're very robust with their strategies. They can account for a lot of different openings of their opponents. There are a lot of different lines that they're doing. And that's something that's really important that not all teams do in World of Tanks. And they sometimes get punished for it, sometimes they don't. But I liked the simple crossing the train tracks with that Object 261. It sounds really basic, but all of a sudden you have a lot of cover in case there are huge blitzes. And what happened? They knew, okay, well, we know they're running a very light, heavy lineup. Let's go ahead, cross the tracks, get some scouts on there. Of course, they send out their tier 5 scouts, and then they just line up shots. And when it came down to it, Peru was chasing both tier 5s, the T50-2 and the Chafee. And those aren't really the Chaffee. And there are, well, there's Chafee College right around here.
It's just funny that you just
Chaffee.
Use some lotion for that. Chafe.
Chafee side scraping.
Guys.
Well done.
Anyway, they're chasing tier 5 tanks that really don't pack a punch. Yes, they're good for the Object 261, which, of course, they're empowered by the 2 tier 5 tanks. But if you're going that far in, you're overextending, you're putting yourself in the crosshairs of your opponents, and you're going to get a lot of damage dealt on you. I think chasing them is okay, but you have to realize this is a time to back up. I shouldn't be going into such far enemy territory not knowing what to expect.
And exploiting the weakness of their opponent. When Peru chose the AMX 5100 and Victorocious saw that his T-52, which had already taken damage, could just Karasu all the way around him and continue attacking, it was picture perfect of how mobility beats out firepower on a map like Pro Qualifier. As you guys were watching different engagements, I was just sitting there going, wow, he's really going to do it. He's really going to do it. And it took him a while to do it, but of course he had some teammates come in a little bit later and do some damage themselves. But it's not over. It is not over when you have a light tank versus a heavy tank if you're able to execute those type of maneuvers.
Absolutely agree. So battle number 2, match number 2 has been concluded. As we had earlier in the night, Bear Huggers was able to defeat War and Peace 3-0. Another 3-0 by Cat Fascination over Peru. The last match of the night, Ermagerd versus Boss Gaming. That's still to come when we come back. Third match of the night. This is WGLNA qualifier number 2. Don't go anywhere.